Alright, everybody, I figured I'd do a really quick video here. One of the things that I'm getting into blockchain development and learning more about blockchain, building dApps and building different smart contracts and stuff like that. The entire kind of structure of the whole, like a whole dApp here was a little confusing to me at first here. So I want to go over this project that I made. I made it in just a little bit of time here. Super simple project, but I want to show you because I think it encompasses a lot of going from a smart contract to a front end here. So first off here, what is the most basic level? Well, not the most basic level, but the most basic level that most people are going to be dealing with most of the times when you're dealing with dApps is writing out a smart contract. And a smart contract is what lives on the blockchain, right? That's the script that lives on the blockchain that you can call and store information on and pull information off and stuff like that here, okay? So within this project from here, you can go into I have under scripts, I believe. I'm sorry, not scripts, under source here. And some of you guys may already be able to tell this is a React application from here. But under the source here, in the contract, I have two contracts here. I have a lucky number contract, and I have a migrations contract too, all right? And this lucky number contract here is very simple here. All it does, it returns a number here, or it's going to add one to the number from here. Now, this is persistent storage on the blockchain from here. So if I add one to this number from here, it's going to be now 11, and then it's going to be 12, basically forever, you know? Do keep in mind here that I did deploy this to the Rinkeby test network here. So sometimes some of the tutorials that are out there, they're fantastic tutorials here, but they only deploy it to a Ganache or a local development blockchain. Going from a local development blockchain to an actual blockchain out in the wild, that's a whole nother step here too. So this is on the Rinkeby test network. It is a network out in the world, but it's a test network, so you keep that in mind here. So the lowest level per se for us right now here is the smart contract. Now, once you build the smart contract here, you need something to compile this down into an ABI in bytecode. Because just like if you're used to working with C# or C++ or different things like that there, just because you write out this as code per se, doesn't mean that the blockchain, or doesn't mean that other computers can process this information, right? You need to compile that information down first. So once you have this here, there's a couple different ways to compile this here. The one I'm using is Truffle. And I could definitely make some videos of more in detail in the future. This is just kind of like an overview here. And when I do these videos, it helps me kind of think out and understand everything too. So that's one of the reasons why I do it. And I hope to help you guys out. But anyways, I digress from here. So I take this contract here, actually both these contracts, and I use Truffle compile. And I compile them down to under the Truffle ABIs from here. And again, it's ABIs, not APIs. So now we have this JSON from here. And this has a bunch of different information. It has the... basically a bunch of different stuff from here, right? Pretty big file, pretty big JSON file from here. This also has some of the bytecode here too, and it goes right there, the bytecode. Okay, so you need that to be able to call functions from this contract on your front end too. So the API is important. Now, what you're going to do once you have an API here is you actually before you set the API, you need to have a configuration file from here. So this tells Truffle what network you want to connect to from here. Now, in addition to having a Truffle config file set up here, you need to also have an Rpc server, depending on the blockchain. Again, this is on the Rinkeby test network here, Ethereum blockchain. So I have this Infura server up. If you go to infura.com, it's super easy to launch a server. I think it's up to something crazy, like 10 million requests per month here is in the free tier. Don't quote me on that, I could be wrong here, but it's, you know, it's free for most testing purposes, okay? But yeah, so this connects to this Rpc server, and then from there we can deploy our APIs to the blockchain. Now you notice this part of my screen right now is blurred here. This is just Rinkeby fun, so even if you somehow unblur it, which I don't even know how you do, but even if you were to somehow get that there, that is just, test Ethereum. It's fake Ethereum. It's not real Ethereum from here. If I have my private key, this loads the private key, and this is able to deploy to the test network from here. So I take my ABIs here, I run a migration script, which is in this folder from here. We have the initial migration, and then we have deployed contracts there too, right? The initial migration corresponds with this smart contract, and these this deployed contract corresponds with my lucky number contract from there, okay? So we take this information, we basically run the script from here, which is going to deploy the ABIs to the blockchain, all right? So now we have our information and we have it deployed to the blockchain. Great, but how do I get that information? How do I work with that information? How do I interact with that information somehow? Well, you're going to want to develop a front-end interface from here. And the front-end interface is going to be based on React. And a lot of web development these days is based around React. So a lot of web development these days is based around React here. Most of the times when you sign up for a full-stack Dapp tutorial, stuff like that here, they're going to be using React. Of course, there's different ways to go about it from here. But if I go to my source from here, and I go to components, and I go to the app right there, and I go to Web3, I have this Web3 module imported from here, and I also have this ABIs imported from there too, okay? So now I just basically load this information from MetaMask from here. This is basically loading MetaMask. And now I load some information from the blockchain from here, all right? I'm gonna organize this a little bit more here. Go ahead and save. And then on the, basically we take information from the blockchain from here, get accounts, right? And basically we assign that information to variables within our code from here. So stuff like the APIs, the address here, now I can access that within my code, right? And what I do is in the state here, I basically assign this object to something in my state here, so this way I can access it a little bit easier, okay? And then I have the function from here, get number, right? Get number is a very simple function. All that I'm doing is I'm getting the number from that contract from there. So I'm not even really calling a function. I'm just calling the actual, I'm accessing a public variable. Do keep in mind here, I guess it technically is a function here because I'm calling it like a function, like a method. Do keep in mind here, I think this actually doesn't have to be async. I might fix that, I might put that a little bit more in the future. But right now I just have it async and it's working, so I don't want to mess with it too much. All right, and then basically it's just a button here, and when I call that button here, it's going to load that, and we're going to get the information basically printed out to the console, okay? You also notice that I have the account set up to the state from there. Let's take a look at how that works here. So if I go to my Google Chrome, and I open up my console from here, we can see now we have the address right there. If I switch to a different wallet within my MetaMask, oops, come on now. Come on. This always happens to me. I switch to say account 1. Sure, and I connect it. Oops, I should have connected it. Account 1. Connect. Connect. And I refresh the page here. Now we get a new address being loaded from here. So now check it out, if I call this button from here, if I hit this button, I should say here, this is going to call the function all the way from the smart contract, and we have the result being 11 from that, okay? Again, this is super simple, and if you're looking at this going, well, what's the point of that? Well, you know, if you don't understand that this is just a proof of concept from here, I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. But yeah, obviously you can build a lot more out from here. This is just a proof of concept to make sure that I understand the complete organization of a Dapp here and kind of write out myself here. So we're going all the way from basic low level, not even low level, basic contracts. That's my OBS here. From the contracts living on the, where to go here? Come on now. The contracts living on the blockchain contracts, there we go. Live on the blockchain all the way out to the front end here, and we're interacting with that with your wallets from here. This is kind of like when I started working with apps and I actually started learning how to program, it was like, yeah, cool, I can do stuff on the front end. I could design an app to show a picture, to do, you know, put text in the screen here. But if I want to take information and send it to a server, if I wanted to store that in a database, how would I go about doing that, you know? So that was kind of a question that I explored for a while, and that's kind of why I taught myself back in development and AWS and Node and networking requests and all that good stuff here, and some basic security too. This was kind of my question, you know, kind of my mindset from here. How do I take information? Because I could write out a smart contract, and like I would use Remix and different things like that here, and like, cool, you know, this is written out, it's working within Remix. But again, like, how do I actually start to work with that stuff on the front end from here? So that's kind of, you know, where this project came from. This only took me a few hours, but I'm hoping it makes sense, and hopefully this helps some of you guys out to understand the full flow of the project from here. Because once you understand that, it's a lot easier to get stuff working from here, right? So one more time, we have the smart contract from here. The smart contract gets compiled down to ABIs and bytecode using Truffle. Truffle also allows us to set up a network, and then to connect to an RPC network like Infura. And then once we are able to do that, we take the APIs and we deploy it to the test network from there. And then once this is on the test network from here, we can use Web3, and we can also use basically just Web3 and MetaMask to interact with those smart contracts from here. And of course, this is, you know, this isn't as simple as sending an HTTPS request or an HTTP request, because you have to send, like if I'm having to call a function that costs funds and stuff like that, and so, you know, because if I'm approving the transaction, that means I need MetaMask and all this stuff here. It gets kind of complicated. So hopefully this helps you guys out. I am going to put this up on my GitHub repo. I will be updating this because this is almost embarrassingly simple right now and probably a lot of mistakes right now. But if you guys want to check it out, download it, check it out, and I appreciate it. If you guys learned something, be sure to give me a thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe. And that's going to be it for this video, guys. If you guys really enjoy it, I do offer some Udemy courses. Be sure to check them out, and I will see you guys next time. Take it easy.